London, all dressed up, ready for Christmas and an election. And with less than 24 hours before the polls open, one that still has some people scratching their heads. Is it an election or another referendum on Brexit?
So it doesn't feel like a real election. So it's really hard for us to make the right decision.
Jeremy Corbyn or Boris Johnson, who would you pick?
Opinion polls continue to give Boris Johnson the edge,
Get Brexit done.
hammering home his Get Brexit Done message to the very end and dangling his so-called ready-made deal with the EU like a sweet to pro-Brexit voters, or those who simply believe it's time for the country to move on.
To push ahead.
Sir Nicholas Soames is one of those. The grandson of Winston Churchill and former Conservative MP was ejected from the Conservative Party by Johnson in September for voting against the government. Today, he's hoping Johnson will win a majority, even though he thinks leaving the EU is a mistake.
You know, it's not what I want to happen, but it's what must happen, in my view, and the democratically wished expression of the people must be honoured.
But for others, it would be a disaster to leave. Pro-EU campaigners are pushing hard to convince people to trade party loyalty for tactical voting.
You could sneak ahead there. So
it's going to be tight.
The Remain vote, they say, is split between four parties.
And that's what we're asking people to do. Hold your nose, back the least worst party that's got a chance of winning, in the hope of defeating the party that you really don't like.
Whatever way the vote goes, it's not likely to be the end of the debate over Brexit here. And a little of that holiday spirit might come in handy in the days ahead.
So, Margaret, if the polls stay on track and Johnson really is headed for this majority, is Brexit really as oven-ready as he likes to say it is?
Well, he does have a deal that he negotiated with the European Union, and he says that if he gets the parliament he wants, he's going to push it through by the end of January. On top of that, he's saying he can get a Canada-style trade agreement with the EU done by the end of the year. But you have to remember, that took Canada 7 years to negotiate, so it's a pretty tall order. And we shouldn't get too far ahead of ourselves, because Johnson's predecessor, Theresa May, actually went into the last election in 2017 with a pretty good lead, and she came back with a minority government. So we'll know around this time tomorrow, I guess.
All right, we have a date.
See you then.
Thanks, Margaret.